Groove Shack Records.
I'm Valhalla and welcome to the first episode of the Groove Shack podcast. In this podcast, I'm going to be speaking to artists and finding out about their journey through music, a little bit about how their creative processes are, and just generally everything music. So make sure to subscribe to this channel to be notified on future podcast episodes, and enjoy this podcast. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Cheers. Okay, welcome to the Groove Shack podcast, a new podcast where we're going to be talking to artists, finding out their foundations in music, what got them into it, and yeah, just their musical journey. So for the first episode, I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to speak to my good friend Leo Goddard. Leo Goddard, how you doing?
Alright, I'm doing no bad, man. How you doing?
Aye, good. Even better for seeing you.
Aye, mate. Aye. I tend to have that effect on people.
Looking extra fabulous.
Aye, mate. Like, wee horn on the go and that, like, fucking.
You just say you've got the horn.
Aye, mate. Got the horns. Fucking grand reveal on part unicorn.
Brilliant. So how's things anyway? What's been happening in the life of Leo?
Not really much, man. Fucking working on my album mostly, like, fucking, that's really about it. Excited for that,
for anyone at home, this is a new album coming out on Groove Shack Records.
Yeah, aye, man. It's gonna be good, like. Fucking looking forward to it, like.
Aye, yeah. It's 10 tracks that are absolutely phenomenal.
I feel like I should be the one that's telling them that it's 10 tracks, but I've totally just blanked on that fact. My fucking album. You're the one providing the info. I should be providing
you.
Like...
you own that.
Oh man. Oh, but yeah, 10 tracks. Like, yeah, aye.
But anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just start from the start.
Aye, man.
You know, when did music first come into your life? What's your first memory?
Oh, like fucking aye. Well, it's got to be fucking. I was on the way back for the cinema. I'd been to see the Clone Wars, like Star Wars movie. I was a huge Star Wars geek when I was younger. Fucking probably about 9, man.
9 years old.
Aye, so like fucking it was I'm Blue by Eiffel. Like fucking came on the radio, I'm Blue Dabba.
Oh,
I was asleep. It was like
I absolutely loved that.
Aye, man. It was like 11 o'clock at night. Fucking, so I was knackered as a 9-year-old. Fucking sleeping in the back of the car. Like, it was the only time you could get me to fucking sleep was in a car, like, fucking...
Yeah.
But I sleep in the car, and fucking, that came on, and I started dancing to it in my sleep. And it was just one of the memories that all my family's got of me, like, oh, fuck, like, he really likes fucking music, like, and especially dance music, like, and in my 4x4, like, I can handle a little bit of breakbeat and, like, sort of stuff like that, but, and in my 4x4, like, house and techno, that's where
that's quite crazy, by the way, right, because my first introduction to dance music, right, was coming back from my gran's, probably about 6 or 7 years old, in the back of the car, and it'd be like late night Radio 1 that was playing,
man,
dance music, and I always remember like I'd be like, oh, turn that up, and my mum and dad would be saying, that's rubbish music, so it became a thing. Put the rubbish music on. Anytime I was coming back from my gran's, but that's mental how that's totally similar.
Sounds like cans clanging and fucking just bins getting battered about the place to them. Like just like they've been raised on Tom Jones and we're coming in with this mad 4x4 shit. Like, what are you starting?
I know, but it's one of those things with dance music. See, when you get it, you get it. It's a tribal thing for me. Like, especially techno.
Well, I've noticed that. Like, well, it's one of the things, like, it's like the way the community is around techno and stuff like that. Like, you can have your like cliquey sort of like, ooh, it's not techno and all these things. But again, like, techno's really just a bigger genre with many subgenres fucking in it. Like, so I mean, it's like
genres are so crossed now that it's just like there's no boundaries. It's
well, it's like early hardstyle now becoming like the new hard techno and like all these different things. Like, it's cool the way history's kind of doing a little loop again with fucking dance music, especially in techno. Like, it's quite cool.
At the moment, there's a lot of hard techno. It's It's like old it was like hardstyle, like the screeches.
Yeah.
That.
Before it became
really,
about the sort of heavy, crunchy kicks, like it was really about the bass and like reverse bass and all that sort of stuff. Like fucking, especially like Rotterdam and that, they had some pretty good fucking early hardstyle and shit.
Yeah.
Like I do like the sort of Rotterdam music.
When I was at the hardstyle, it was always like the early hardstyle. It almost sounded like techno. You know what I mean? The gated kicks, and it's more about rhythm rather than.
There was a lot more space between things and that, like fucking. Also had its carnage, but
it was when it went into like raw style. It was more like distorted, like gabber. It was like what I would call like slow gabber. That was like,
yeah.
I prefer a fucking drive.
It was actually like fucking one of my guilty pleasures for ages was fucking Frenchcore, man. Can like pure 200 and fucking odd BPM mad shit. Like, can't even differentiate anything. It's just noise.
Aye,
like,
someone
just
said to
ridiculousness.
Me, someone said to me once, it's just like smashing glass. That's what it sounds like.
Aye, man, just like banging a drum fucking as hard as you can and as fast as you can and then throwing a few fucking sounds. Like, just like this. It's like, how long in bars have they songs got to fucking be to make it to like 6 minutes in length? Like, you got to be like 1,000 fucking bars. Like,
our podcast today is brought to you by Buckfast, tonic wine. It's soon to be called Groove Fast. No, I'm just joking, but
and
cheers,
Aldi, if you want to sponsor me. Aquavale.
Stillwater with
you plug for Aldi there. Saving in the cost of living here, like with Aldi. It's good old.
Oh yes, wet the palate.
Support a poor DJ, an artiste.
Brilliant. So what was the first CD or record that you bought?
It was actually fucking an Acid House CD, man.
No way.
Like fucking old Acid House tunes and everything. Like, so
that's
like,
a lot cooler than mine.
What was yours like? What was yours like?
Well,
what did you get?
I mean, gifted, right? Gifted.
Okay.
Probably the Smurfs or something at Christmas, right? But
actually,
the first CD I bought was actually Alice DJ, her album. Who Needs Guitars Anyway? Again, it was like. What was that? 98, 99, sort of like when trance was totally into the charts and stuff. And
aye, man. When fucking Tiesto was just on the rise, just these bangers coming up like fucking
pre Kevin and Perry era, just about there.
Aye, man.
Because Kevin and Perry was about 2000, I think.
I think it was like fucking. George Jules done an absolute cracker with it, like fucking
what a
soundtrack and everything, and the way the movie and everything is fucking amazing, man. Like fucking, it's a floater. It'll fucking live as a fucking like just quote in my head forever, man. Like that scene
the
on
whole
the beach,
movie,
just
man.
through the shits.
The whole movie,
like everything's quotable. Everything, like fucking.
You are not my fellow DJ. Goodbye forever.
So man, like pure fucking like video he's ma getting shagged in that fucking on the big screen. That like, oh my god, man, like dance music, just dance music. Like, so good, man.
The comedy in that and the soundtrack, the whole thing, is like, that's why it is my number one tune. It's my number one movie of all time for me.
Oh, aye, man.
100%.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Like, it's gotta be fucking. It's amazing. Like,
what was your first bit of live music that you went out to see?
Bit of live music. It's probably got to be in the park.
This could be a concert. This could be.
Got to probably be like fucking. It was Be in the Park. Mind Be in the Park used to happen in the town park.
Dude,
I'm sure you DJ'd at it.
That was my first gig. First gig.
I'm sure it was actually. I'm sure I've been to one of the ones that you fucking played at, but it was Be in the Park that definitely was probably my light, and that's when I was like, I got to feel like kind of a bit of. So it wasn't like a big festival that for anybody that doesn't know what it was. Like it was sort of like local artists and up and coming bands would play on it. So it was a decent speaker rig.
Normally it wasn't DJs.
No, it was fucking. It was
normally
decent.
it wasn't DJs. No. Normally
it was bands mostly.
Like
Yeah.
Aye, that's a fond memory of mine. That was 2005. I played there.
Yeah.
Super.
Aye, man. Yeah. Be in the Park was fucking always good.
So, when did you start DJing, and how did you get into it? What interested you into it?
Well, it's kind of funny, fucking my first set of decks I actually got were just like these cheapy, like no branded, fucking like all one unit, like CDs popped up for the top, like kind of they tried to replicate the old Pioneer sort of style, like
All right,
fucking.
okay. I was going to say, was that not the one for
But
Argos that was like an all-in-one silver?
it was,
Is that
mate.
the one?
It was exact. Yes,
That's
that's
the
what I
one.
started on, and it was because I wanted to make music. So I had in my head that that's what DJs did. They made music on a set of
The amount
decks,
of
and it
people that
wasn't
think
until
that.
I kind of got the decks and I was like, how do they make music on this? I'm just playing other people's. It took me a while to kind of figure it out, and I stopped for a while, and then kind of. It was one of the itches where I was like, I had so much fun playing about with music and stuff on them, even though I wasn't making music.
Aye.
I could still have fun and get creative and do
Oh,
different
100%.
things and like especially looping and all that sort of stuff. You could have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
it wasn't until I got a set of American audios when I was
I
about sort
minded
of
them. I minded
14.
them.
Yeah, yeah. I man, I had a set of American audios. I think it was the Radius 1000s. Like fucking cracking wee bit of kit. Like had onboard effects and everything sort of ahead, kind of where it's all went now with the effects and shit like that. Fucking, but they were really good. Fucking wee fucking decks. Like they kind of were the start. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much
But there's a lot
where it
more
all.
features in those ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Especially having like the Newmark mixer. It was my buddy Mike ended up buying a set of vinyls, and then we ended up vinyl collecting and trying to mix drum and bass and like.
is that
And that's
mixer the
probably
same
the only thing
as?
I was able to ever mix.
Yeah, is that mixer the
What
same
was it?
one that's like? Was it the DM 450 or something? It was called. It's black and silver, and it was only two
Yes,
channels.
yeah.
That was the first.
Yeah,
That was my
well, they
first
brought out.
mixer too.
Yeah. Well, like the Newmark M4, basically just it was like an upgraded version of that to have like MIDI recording capability.
All
That's
right,
all
aye,
it
yeah.
had. Like I actually bought it thinking because the decks were MIDI capable, I could use it on virtual DJ and do some creative stuff on
Yeah,
that. When
yeah,
I'd seen other
controller.
people's Serato and stuff. But nah, like fucking they were a nightmare to connect. Fucking and then found out the mixer was sadly record MIDI, not actual MIDI. Like fucking so like fucking.
That's pretty
But
disappointing then, eh?
if anything, it kind of forced me down a road of actually like learning to mix on CDJs and stuff like that, and vinyl and all these things, and kind of like can't really fucking mix on vinyl, but I got very fucking close to fucking
Aye,
being able to
it
mix on
is.
vinyl.
It is the hardest, I would
Yeah,
say, to mix.
yeah.
It's
It's
because
mainly just keeping it.
yeah, but your
The
fader,
fucking
your
it's an art
fader,
form. The touch.
your fader doesn't have like points such as
Yeah,
the Pioneers. It could be 0.5, 0.56 or
yeah,
whatever. You don't
yeah.
have that,
Uh,
so you just have to
yeah,
purely go on by your ears, and then it's a bit different
yeah.
with the platter. But yeah, no,
Yeah. Aye, man.
So what?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of glad with.
Sorry,
Sorry, what was this, man? You're all good,
I
man.
was just going to say what music did you first start DJing? Like, what's your journey up until now?
It was kind of a mixed bag. It was like a lot of hard dance, so I liked hard style. I liked sort of the old school sort of hardcore stuff and that, like
What
fucking.
sort of artists did you play?
And then also, oh, fucking, so many different ones. Fucking, I'm really bad for remembering artist names or
Aye.
stuff like that.
See,
Fucking fracks, but like fucking, in terms of the most memorable ones, fucking, it's got to be things like fucking Kutski and like
yeah.
fucking. All these sort of things like fucking literally early hard dance, like fucking it was especially that sound I was drawn to, that harder edged but had a lot of bass
A wee
and
bit more
all
aggressive.
the different things fucking aye, that was it. Like fucking and then sort of early sort of like Detroit house and like techno sort of stuff was a lot of the things that I kind of experimenting with. And then kind of went down the big hard style road with like Brennan Hart and fucking
Yeah.
all these sort of guys. Like fucking just went crazy. The huge fucking it was more the crunchy hard style, like the new style where
Aye.
it was the
Raw
chords and all the fucking aye, that was it. It wasn't really hard, it was more euphoric than hard.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, it was
hardstyle kind of
what
went a wee
mixed
bit
me stuff.
trancey. I don't know if it is now these days.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
attention much, but
Aye,
I
yeah.
remember it being
Aye, well, that was fucking
melodic.
probably like 2012 was the last time I listened, and it was very trance, like fucking, like it was all about the fucking melody and the chords and everything, and how it made you feel more than the actual just like let's go fucking mental, like, just like fucking, like just like that, like fuck it, let's do this, like just like fucking slam your cans and get dancing, like, just,
Shake what your mother gave ya.
aye man, that's it, like fucking,
Brilliant. So obviously after hardstyle, I take it you moved into techno.
yeah, well that was it. It was fucking listening. It was actually one of my sister's old boyfriends was like, "Oh, fucking stop listening to that sort of stuff. I'll show you some real music." Iggy Bamyazi, fucking hooked. And then after Iggy Bamyazi, it was Dave the drummer.
Yeah.
Fucking one night in Hackney. Heard that one
mate,
night when I was
mate.
steaming, and
Favourite of mine.
that was it. Like fucking, that was just addicted to that fucking industrial techno sound. That was kind of what I'd experienced early in hardstyle, and then was like, nah, this is it. Like techno, fucking 100%. Especially that
Yeah.
underground industrial warehouse rave. Like that. That's definitely where I love it the most.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So the name Leo Goddard, can you explain?
Yeah.
To people
Why?
how
Fucking,
Goddard-
it's
your,
like-
your name's Lee. It's,
Yeah, aye. So it's a weird one actually. It's completely different to Lee Duffy. It's fucking
Yeah,
completely
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Well, my dad's middle name was Goddard. Fucking. So it's kind of dedication to him in that aspect. And then I always used to read my horoscope when I was younger. I'm actually a Virgo,
too.
but when they started adding fucking that there was 13 signs and all these sort of things and that moved me to a Leo. So I was kind of Leo Goddard. Like, fuck it, I'm going with that. Just like
Fair play.
fucking,
No, that's
that was
good.
kind of my thought process behind it. Like fucking,
No, brilliant. It's also
Yeah.
it's like it's nice as well. It's a lovely.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely meaning to it.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? What's your creative process when you're making a new track? What do you start from a loop and then work in, or do you
yeah,
have something
like-
in your head?
Sometimes I have something in my head, but usually what ends up is completely opposite to I usually let the sounds create what it's going to create. So like
you let it
it's
feel
like
your way.
especially, aye, that's it. So I always start with like the kick, like you always a kick and bass. That's usually where I like to start with the fundamentals, looking at the lowest end.
Yeah.
And then I'll build up for there and then start hearing like, oh, actually this should sound quite cool. And I kind of piece it in my head. So it was like, I'll maybe have this going for 32 bars and then I want this to start happening and I'll maybe start breaking down here, strip things away.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes for loop to loop where I'll just basically loop it at each section where I'm kind of building it up and then I'll listen to the whole thing. Right, okay, it's starting to change a little here. And I'll just
'cause
sort of
that's
figure it out from
important.
there.
Sorry, that's important as well. I just said sorry to the mic.
So you got to take care of your equipment, man. It might become sentient one day. I've seen
Sorry,
Terminator.
Rode.
Like fucking.
What was I going to say? That's fucking throwing me.
Our first blank. Blankety blank, blankety blank.
Blank, blank, blank.
Fuck, what's that one again?
Is that not a game show?
I think it was. Like, fucking. I can't wait, it was on something. Like,
I'm sure it's a game show. That's what I was going to say. Like, you've obviously tried my drum machine and stuff.
yeah.
And you
Oh, man, I
notice,
fucking love that
like,
thing.
What I love about it is, instead of looking at a screen, you get kind of sucked into the patterns of the squares, or the patterns of all the stuff. And
Aye, yeah.
like, I tend to go through, like, I have certain habits when I'm producing. You're probably the same.
Yeah,
You
aye,
do
yeah.
The same thing over and over.
Aye.
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when
use same sort
when
of
I
plugins and stuff like that.
transferred when I transferred for like hard dance and then
Yeah.
moved into techno, there was wee things that I had to change that I kept doing.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would make
'cause
it
there's certain
sound like
things that
hard
create a certain
dance.
sound. Yeah.
So
It's like putting
that
distortion
was,
on a kick. Stuff like that can totally change how it, actually the fundamental of the track
for
goes.
me, it was like the
fucking,
transitional things, how I would transition stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of like for example, having things repeating all the time. With techno, it's good to have it just once in a while, and it keeps it interesting, and it's more of a journey. And
yeah.
you know,
There's a lot of like stuff in the background that happens with techno that then feeds to the rest of the journey that happens. Like, so there's certain elements that happen early on but don't happen again. So it is like a real journey through it. I've noticed that there's not really. It can get repetitive.
It's like ear candy bits, you know.
Aye. That's it. Like, you do get repetitive techno, like fucking like, especially because I think that's what a lot of people are usually brought into, because like people want to listen to what other people aren't listening to. Like, so there is a lot of that's it. So like, there's a lot of cliquey folk that are like, oh, this is real techno, or that, like what we were saying earlier. So it's like, but I found that like techno, it's kind of, it's tasteful, fucking, like, especially really good techno. It's done really fucking well, like fucking. But that's definitely where I strive to be, fucking at some point. Like, fucking,
yeah.
be
For me, like,
masterclass.
obviously, I want to keep what I'm doing organic and my own style in a way. But I've noticed sometimes in techno, for example, it wouldn't be my style anyway, but you wouldn't normally put some sort of cheesy vocal over techno or something. Like the proper techno heads would be just like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like even just certain
Getting the
vocals, like they
daggers.
just didn't like vocals. It has to just like
Aye.
fucking it has to, and even like the drops and stuff like that have to be minimal and break
Aye,
out.
they
And,
can't
like,
be like
kinda,
EDM.
It's very yeah, and then just like fucking just disappointing drop.
Aye,
It's
aye,
got to be very.
Exactly.
Like, it's got to be done way like.
Aye, how do you stay motivated and like inspired to create music like consistently? Because to tell everyone at home, I have never met, apart from Marax, right? I have never met anybody that produces as prolific as you. Because, for example, right?
It's an obsession.
In a weekend, or to be honest, any day of the week, I'll wake up to a message, and it'll be like, "Here's another one. Here's another one." Like 2 days, you've made three tracks in 2 days or something. You're like, I was up last night till like five in the morning, and I've got this. In fact, I've got an album. I was like, "Fucking what?" Like your album that's coming out, you first sent me a few tracks, and I was like, instant sign. That's
it's going to be an EP
stuff.
first.
And then you're like, actually, I'm going to just make that an album because I've got these other tracks as well.
Kind of makes sense. Like, aye, man. Like, kind of, and they'll flow together. So it was like, why not? We can just go for it. Like,
I am so proud of you with this album, dude, because it is phenomenal.
Aye, man. I'm looking forward to fucking this one, like especially. Like, but yeah, fucking, it's just things like that that keep me motivated. It's like, especially like, I'm one of these people that I don't like sleep that much. Like, it's one of these things that I just get instantly in my head. Oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do. It's like there's only 24 hours in a day, and I'm like, why the fuck do I want to be sleeping for fucking like 8 hours of them? Fucking. So it's like I have to really fight myself. It's like, aye, that's it. It's like fucking. And it tends to get, I'll hit a certain point in the night and I'm just not tired. Like 12 o'clock the next day, I'm ready to go again. Like fucking, it's just one of the things that I could go a weekend and just produce and produce and produce. Luckily, having the wee man tires me out enough now that I can kind of slow down a little bit.
I was on the
I have
trampoline
to
today
fucking
for
sleep.
an hour. An
Aye,
hour.
mate. Like, aye, man. I do it all night and I'm dead by fucking 3 o'clock in the afternoon after chasing about him all morning. Now, like, he makes it known at 6 a.m. when I'm thinking, right, I better get 2 hours. Nah, he says no. Just like, here I am.
He rules. He rules.
Slap me with everything. Aye, that's it. Like, he rules the roost. Like, but yeah, so fucking. It's really just fucking. It's like my way of just like fucking exploring the world and how I'm feeling and stuff. Like, rather than chatting to a therapist, I chat to my doll man. Like fucking
through grooves.
That's pretty much it. Like that's it, mate. Like fucking, I actually figure out how I'm feeling through my music. Like it's just the way it is. Like fucking, like
That's
especially if I don't understand something. Yeah, like if I don't understand why I feel a certain way, I'll make a song and it makes sense now. Like and I can get on with it. Like fucking, so it's therapeutic for me more than anything. So it's an obsession that I need to do. As well as something
really
that I
cool,
guess
man.
provides art to the world rather than causing destruction. Like
yeah, well the thing for me is I'm leaving, like me, you included, like we're leaving our mark on the world when we release music.
Yeah. Aye, well, this is our time capsule. Like this is
100%, and it's like
goes beyond up.
I feel as a creative, like it's just important to leave your mark, something that's going to be having an infinite value, like an infinite life sort of thing. It just continues.
Aye. Well, that's my hopes for it as well, especially if like my music does well or things like that, fucking, and especially because music always does well after death. It's one of the things. So like when I'm eventually not here, my music's still going. Oh, exactly. Like, I'll be fucking. Riker's going to be living in a mansion that I could only dream of. I've done my work. I'm sorry. Fucking. So it's going to be something that his kids will benefit of, and then it keeps going. They'll be like the gay estate mate. Copyright me. You're going to court. Like fucking. We'll be fucking sorry there. You sending your kids to uni? No, mate, I'm sending mine to court.
Oh, mate.
But hopefully the royalties will see them fucking good.
Yeah, no.
That's my hopes anyway. Fucking.
Are there any memorable experiences from your live performance or studio sessions that you could think of?
Aye, fucking, there's a few, like, fucking, it's got to be probably the last gig, actually, fucking, for as much as I bombed on that last gig, fucking, that was entertaining.
Tell everyone what happened.
This is right, basically,
this is Groove Shack at Sticks back in, when was it?
Yeah, September last year.
Last year.
I was literally going to Blackpool the fucking week later, so I was feeling a bit excited for that and thought, oh, I'm going to have a few drinks. I don't really drink, so don't drink fucking if you're going to be DJing and can't DJ while drunk, because it's just going to be a fucking train wreck. It's mainly the big part of the story. But yeah, my ears just did not work that night. Fucking, especially on 4 decks. So when your ears need to be on point, it really wasn't working.
But there was also the other issue.
Aye. Well, because like my man here, Valhalla, likes to fucking do a little bit of impromptu scratching and shit like that. Fucking a man the whiz with the fingers, like fucking.
That's what she said.
Well, he left fucking. Aye, mate, setting you up for that. Well, he left fucking vinyl mode on, fucking unusual, like cut. Like he usually turn things after that, but I usually play with vinyl mode, so that's what annoys me most about.
But you never noticed.
Nah, mate, fucking, I just kept tapping the fucking platter. And then it'd go out, and then I'd be having to think with my pure drunk ears, like, wait, which decks went out? And then I start putting another one out, and then that goes drastically. And yeah, it just went on. I got it together.
It's just like
20 minutes of the whole set.
It's like hitting the Q button on the wrong deck when you're playing
live.
Yeah. I've done that. I think it was Liquid Rooms.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Liquid Rooms was when I was jumping up and down, I'm going mental, and my headphone cable hit the crossfader and the deck cut out, right? But there was a guy dancing behind me, right? And he got the blame, right? And got escorted off the stage.
Oh no.
I'm guy, like, man. Yes. Like, and I just cut the crossfader back on and was like, yeah.
If we can find out who that is, I'll buy you a free ticket and a drink at the
get a guest list spot event, for the next Groove Shack.
Aye, mate, like we'll make amends to that one.
100%.
Oh, mate, it's brutal. But yeah, it was the fact that fucking, especially even though it was kind of bombing the setup, but he was still super supportive and shit like that. Fucking understood that I was having a bit of a wavy night. And then they asked for an encore in my track, fucking The Crew. Like, so first time I've been encored on that track.
Well, track selection was on point, and folk wanted more. But see, after you got past that little glitch, the set was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, it was just.
Aye, man. There was like the final sort of like half an hour was no bad. Oh, aye, man. Like fucking, I don't know a single DJ that hasn't fucking fucked up in a live performance and that. And to be fair, like fucking, it's one of the ones that it usually happens when you've not got a lot of people in the crowd anyway. So usually you're on point when the crowd's going wild, because you kind of get that feeling.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, aye.
Doesn't even matter.
Fucking, like, they're just there for some good tunes.
Totally. Well, that's it. Just they want a good night out. How do you approach crafting a DJ set? Like, what factors do you consider when selecting tracks, arranging them into like a cohesive mix? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, well, for me, it's like I want some tracks that are just a bit different and out of the norm for what normal people would play. Like, there's a few certain tracks that I like for the kids, like that, like sort of Amish sounding tune that I sent you that then breaks into like banging hard groove.
Is that the one I was like saying Egyptian?
Yeah.
Because I was like, you should be like Pharaoh Goddard.
Yeah. So it's like I like sort of tracks like that, fucking that sort of are just like a bit different. So like you can kind of change your set so that it's memorable. There's certain parts of your set that are just earworms that people don't. Would you mind that guy that played like that mental tune, like fucking? So I like to keep things like that in the set, but I also like to try and make things so sort of interesting. So like try and mix tracks that shouldn't really be mixed together, or things that shouldn't quite work, but you can make them work with fucking certain. Keeps you on your edge, like, so like there's a lot of mixing that goes on, especially I like cutting lows, fucking using fucking filters, shit like that, fucking to try and keep it clean. But that's usually what I try to do, is just fucking grab tracks that I love and just fucking make a cohesive mix of it.
I've got like a kind of formula that's, for me, on a set, your first track and your last track are really important.
Yeah.
Your first track's your first impression, and then your last track's your last impression. And depending on the environment, to get people going, like for example, like Resurrection.
Like you opened that spectacularly.
Having a track that folk can sing to, so they can participate, and it brings the energy up. You know what I mean? Because that's. It's good to have the groovers in there and the ones that are more heavy or whatever. But it's also good to have that singy song as well. Different with techno. Techno's a different story, but like you know. Who were like some of your biggest influences in techno, and like how have they impacted your sound?
It's got to be people like Dave the Drummer, Chris Liberator, like sort of even like just things that aren't even techno related, like impact a lot of my sound and stuff. Like I love the early hip hop and their use of sampling.
Oh,
So
me
stuff like
too.
that, like
Me
fucking
too.
just like creative sampling and stuff like that, not really going to the lengths of like copywriting or stealing people's work, but truly taking something and making your own sound out of it.
Aye, yeah, yeah.
Like fucking, especially like the days of Daft Punk, like they were just like masters of sampling.
Aye,
Like
well, I
Fatboy Slim
mean,
as well, early days, like he sampled perfectly. Like
yeah.
fucking,
It's like,
so things like that.
what was I going to say? Sampling. Aye,
Yeah, aye,
Daft Punk.
yeah, yeah,
One more time. When you hear the samples, it's made. Like,
yeah, yep,
you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once you've got that
Like,
sample, like the song was made.
Yeah,
The creative part after that was just piecing it together. That like everything was there.
yeah,
I mean, you hear the sample and you're
Yeah.
like, that's it. Like,
aye, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's crazy.
Aye, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I like implementing wee bits of that into like my music and stuff like that. Fucking so maybe be adding like a wee sample here and there, fucking stuff like that to then make stuff out of. But yeah, definitely sort of people that were very creative and out the box, like fucking
Aye.
Eggy Bamyazi. Like I love him especially for his creativeness. Like he does things different. Like if somebody
Legend,
said
man.
to not do
Was it
something in music,
40
he fucking
years
does
this
it.
year?
Like fucking
40 years this year he's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
been producing,
Yeah, yeah,
well, performing live, and he's one of
Aye,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's one of the granddaddies of
Oh, yeah,
acid
yeah.
house.
Oh mate. Oh yeah,
Your hero.
like, definitely. Like, fucking,
Your hero.
oh, he is like man, like fucking definitely man, like fucking meeting him was like probably one of the greatest fucking experiences of my life. Like fucking
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
proper down to earth guy, too. Like fucking
Yeah, we
like
we were attending Malorkalee's funeral, and Eggy
yeah, yeah,
Bambiasi was attending as well. When we
yeah.
exchanged some records and stickers and got a wee photo together, it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. It definitely fucking brightened the day, fucking
Oh,
like
no,
definitely like fucking. But
totally.
that funeral was spectacular. Like fucking done
Oh,
him proud. Like fucking. It was
yeah,
so good.
yeah, yeah,
Like
it was really
no
special.
good, but like you know what I mean. Like a great
No,
turnout for him.
I
Like
mean,
fucking done him well.
Mal was special. He was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really
Oh, aye,
special character.
fucking. Well, you
Like
could tell that. Like
a
fucking.
Scottish legend, and
Oh, aye, mate.
time and
Like,
time again with Ultrasonic and Public Domain, and even with just
mm,
his solo
mm,
stuff. Colours Fest, I seen him every summer. You know what I mean? And it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
just
Aye,
every
man.
time outside
Yeah.
stage, fucking get it, Yaldi.
Aye, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like fucking like inspired fucking like pretty much generations fucking before mine's now. Like your generation fucking was like the one that got the most inspiration out of him. Like fucking because he like definitely fucking blew the game up for fucking Scottish music. Like fucking 100%. Like
He's just,
Ultrasonic was fucking huge.
and it's all because of his character, his personality
Yeah,
that
like
he
his
even
persona
brought to the
was
stage.
fucking.
His persona,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, like he's
Aye.
fucking
And the thing, it
rock
wasn't even
star.
made up. It was just him. Like, it was just him being him. Like, he
Authentic.
didn't have to be anybody else. It was just him.
Aye.
Like, yeah, like fucking proper down to earth, like fucking gentleman. Like,
No,
oh mate,
100%. What advice would you give to aspiring DJs and producers who are just starting out?
probably my biggest one is don't fear rejection. Like,
Oh,
don't fear rejection.
100%.
Like, if you could see how many rejection emails I get for demos that I've sent to like labels and stuff like that, fucking, like, just dinny take it on board. Like, it's just one of the things. There's so much taste in music that. Like what's one man's cup of tea isn't another's. Like fucking, I like my tea really milky for a fact. So fucking, I know a lot of people wouldn't like that. So it's just
Yeah.
even down to that sort of level. Like fucking, I've also sent a track to one label twice. They didn't like it the first time. They liked it the second time. So
There you go. But
people's
just
moods
don't
change
spam.
week in, week out.
Whatever you do, don't spam
Don't
the
spam.
labels.
Do not spam. Like if you get rejected by a label, wait a few months. Like maybe even 6 months. Send it again. Like
And
we can see if
also-
their tastes have changed because labels change all the time and their
Yeah.
styles and music and what they're trying to take on.
Also, an
Um,
important note as well: labels want you to send a track that's exclusively for them. So
Yeah.
don't send them a SoundCloud link that's been played 14
Like,
times and stuff.
played
They'll
fucking-
just
yeah,
they might
that's
not,
it, like,
they might not
fucking-
even listen to it. I mean, I
Yeah,
remember
aye.
Gary Beck talking about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh right, so we've got 4 minutes left, Lee, before we get
Yeah.
shut down. So
Yeah, that's all good, man. Like fucking yeah.
What do you enjoy most about being a DJ and producer, and what keeps you passionate about it?
It's just the fact I get to wake up every day and do my thing, like fucking explore music, fucking. It's one of the things that like I couldn't think of a perfect day job fucking to do when I'm also raising my son. Like so, it works hand in hand. Like fucking, I get to show him my love of music and like how I explore music and all the different sounds and Yeah, no, it's one of the things, like, fucking music's definitely one of the things that brings people together. It's a unifier, like, it's a universal language,
100%.
music.
Peace, love,
There's
unity.
no barriers. Yeah, it's like you could go to a rave in Russia, you could go to a rave in, like, fucking Ukraine, like, things like that. It's all about love. Like, you could also go to one fucking in Bosnia in the middle of nowhere, and
I know.
it's just got to be about dancing. Like, that is literally going to be the most of it. Like,
I know.
keep yourself to yourself, show love and respect to everybody, and you'll get it back, like, in abundance. Like, that's why I love the dance scene. Like,
100%. Right, we're going up to 3 minutes, so give us a little insight into your album. What's everyone to expect, and then we'll let everyone let it go.
Well, the album starts off with like a couple of house tracks, which is a bit unusual for me. Like, I do produce house. Well, it was actually Gus, like, who's on the team, was saying about, like, do you produce house? And I was like, oh yeah, I could produce house. So there's a couple of house tracks in there just to sort of like show that, yeah, I like, and then it goes through just like a wee journey into sort of some hard groove, like a lot of sort of Mark Broom inspired sort of sounds.
Cool.
And then it ends up into more of the harder sort of side of things, where it could be classed as like the early sort of hard style, like what's kind of like that techno fucking hard sort of sort of tech core, as I'm going to call it.
Tech core, brilliant.
Fucking, it's just a blend, a wee bit of inspiration after Rez.
Right, so what's the album called?
The album's going to be called Here We.
Perfect.
So
I'm sure that
like the crowd's finished that.
No explanation.
Aye, mate.
Just type in Scottish, here we, you'll get it.
Yeah, YouTube videos in abundance of us screaming our lungs out. Fucking
brilliant.
aye, mate.
Okay, so what we'll do is put a link into the description underneath this video, to all of Lee's social media accounts and stuff. Keep a lookout for his album coming out on Groove Shack Records, called Here We.
Right, I'm looking forward to that.
Year.
Like, fucking, it's gonna be good.
But thank you very much for speaking to me, Leo.
No, thank you very much,
Mr.
dude.
Lee.
Mr. Lee. But thank you very much, man. It's been good.
It's been good. It's been good to have the first podcast with you as well, dude. So
man, like, well, it's the first
love.
podcast I've ever done, so I know I've fair enjoyed it. Like, getting pure interviewed like I'm Angelina Jolie here, and like, fucking Mr. Brad Pitt in the house.
You better know it.
Like, fucking, my shoulders have gotten 3 times bigger, fucking, when I walk now. Like, fucking, I was interviewed by Valhalla. Do you know who I am?
I think you'll find I brought these carpets in with me.
And I, in fact, did shite in your kettle.
That's brilliant. End on that. Right,
mate.
take it easy,
mate.
guys. Catch you later, man.
See you later on.
Bye.
Take it easy, man.